Good evening, Hofstra sports fans, and welcome to the final episode of Sports Beat for the fall semester. I know, it's a tragedy, but we've got a great show for you. I'm Max Sacco, and tonight I'll be joined by Justin Joseph, Quentin Thorne, and Bermudez. We'll be talking about women's soccer, women's basketball, and men and women's cross country. We'll also have our final installment of FaceTimes, so don't go anywhere, because Sports Beat starts right now. Into our discussions, we've got Bermudez in studio for the week in review.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Thanks, Max. And here's your weekend review. The Hofstra women's volleyball team started the week off by defeating the Charleston Cougars in 4 sets on Monday night. Louisa Sidlick paved the way for the team, achieving 1,000 digs for her career and rounding up 39 assists in the match. Laura Masciullo also led Hofstra with 15 kills on top of 5 digs. The women's volleyball team fell to James Madison University shortly on Friday, November 15 in straight sets. Madeline Metheny and Laura Masciullo were able to both stand out with their 2 kills each to give the Pride a 5-1 lead at the start of the game. The men's basketball team had a tight match with Bucknell University on November 13th with a final score of 86-71. Kevin Shute, the substitute forward, knocked down 6 points and 6 rebounds within the first 17 minutes of the game. Jermaine Miranda also ignited the team, contributing 5 points in the first 7 minutes. The men quickly made a comeback on Friday, November 15th, winning 111-69 over New York Tech. Tariq Coburn had a highlight of 5 3-pointers and achieving an all-time high in his career of 23 points. Jalen Ray had a record score of 10 points and 4 3-pointers in the first half. Ending with the win of the week, the women's soccer team has earned their way to the second round of the NCAA tournament with a 1-0 overtime against Loyola at the Hofstra Soccer Stadium. The game-winning goal was made by junior Sabrina Bryan with a short pass assist from Bella Richards with a great offensive play. I'm Bermudez, and this has been your weekend review.
Thanks, Crystal. To kick things off, I'm joined by Justin Joseph and Quentin Thorne. Guys, let's talk about our women's soccer team, arguably one of the greatest teams Hofstra has had in this 2019 calendar up until about 2020 now as we're heading into the new year. But, you know, they get past the first round, that huge win against Loyola Chicago. I definitely didn't text my friends who go there. A little bit of rub in. You know, we won. Got to have it. But now they're going to Stanford. Stanford's number 1 in the country. Stanford's been number 1 in the country. Stanford is the number 1 player in the country. Stanford leads the country. You name it, Stanford leads in some category or has some lead. Do the Pride have any chance to get through Stanford?
Well, you bring up an excellent point, Max. Stanford's soccer team is like the New England Patriots of women's soccer. They're amazing. They've got Katerina Machorino, who's absolutely fantastic, and she's surrounded by a great supporting cast. But we're better. We're the underdog. We're going to shock them, and we're going to shock the nation.
I'm going to be the realistic one here. Stanford, I'm not going to say it's impossible. This is why we play the game. But Stanford's a tough test for anybody. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. Katerina Macario has 77 total points compared to our best player, Lucy Porter, having 32. That's a glaring statistic, and every player on the Pride is going to have to give it their absolute all to survive this test against Stanford.
I'm going to be the realist here too, Quentin. Listen, I like a little faith. I like the faith. I like the optimism. But a team that good, a team that's a defending national champ, the team that has a player who leads the country in points, and our next player is almost 40 behind or more. I mean, Quentin, the odds are stacked against us. This team beat High Point 15-0 in the first round. I think we have to be realistic here. I think we're going to go to Stanford. We're going to put up a fight. I think the Pride can put up a great fight. I think that Sabrina Bryan and Lucy Porter could maybe score a goal or two, make it, tight early on, but I think it's just going to be Stanford the whole way.
I don't know, guys. Coach Ridioff runs a tight ship. I think that we're engineered to be an upset in this one.
Stanford hasn't lost a game at home since 2016 in the NCAA tournament. The team that they beat 15-0, that's the best team in some conference. The best team of some conference, the conference championship team, got beaten 15-0 on the road. That says a lot.
Justin, frankly, it's High Point. We could beat High Point 15-0 as well.
15-0 is 15-0.
No matter
15-0, no matter what point, it's 15-0. You can't say, oh, well, it was high point. Oh, it was high point. 15-0 is 15-0. That
It is
number
15-0.
says it all right there.
But a team like Pepperdine was able to beat Stanford 1-0, and I think we are significantly better. I get it. I get the odds are stacked against us. I get they beat 5 ranked opponents. You see all the numbers. I don't care. We're engineered to be an underdog. I truly do believe in this team.
Well, you talk about engineering an underdog. Who's your MVP for this underdog then?
Miri Taylor.
Really?
Miri Taylor is my underdog for this team, and here's why. I understand people have better numbers than her, but at the same time, she generated 9 goals and 9 assists, guys. She doesn't do that. This team is not where they are right now. So Miri Taylor is my MVP.
Lucy Porter for me. She had 2 goals and 1 assist in the CAA championship game against JMU. She's the MVP for me.
Guys, I'm going to have to go with Sabrina Bryan. She's been dominant all season, had a slow start, really picked it up in the second half. Sabrina Bryan has to be the MVP for that team, and she even pushed them into the second round. It's got to go to Sabrina Bryan. She is the player that this team has to look out for. Now, before we talk about women's basketball, as we just wrap up women's soccer, we've got something a little special for the audience. A couple of weeks ago, I went up against 2 women's basketball players in a game of force. Let's take a look to see how I did. So, as a first-year coach, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also how you wound up again at Hofstra?
Yeah, so first-year coach, I've been coaching for 13 years now, been an assistant coach all over the place, had the opportunity to learn from a lot of great coaches, and so I've really been able to pull from all of those different experiences and kind of make one of my own. And for me, it's a lot of a servant leader. In a relationship-based program, and so we're going to get the most out of our players, and we want to make sure that we maximize our potential and that they know that we care about them in every aspect of their life.
Now, as a first-year coach, what are your goals for the season ahead?
Yeah, so in this season, we want to make sure that we are able to become our absolute best. Every single day in practice, we want to be better that day than we were the day before. And I think for us to have success this year, we have to perform at our absolute best and become our absolute best selves, and whatever that looks like as individuals and as a team.
How did you guys decide on Hofstra? What was your basketball journey that led you here?
I chose Hofstra for the coaches and the girls. On my official visit, I really felt like they were real and they were really close. I really just loved it, so I chose Hofstra for that.
Now, you guys are both students, but you're also athletes. How do you kind of balance out that lifestyle while you're here?
Just a lot of time management, like prioritizing. For me personally, I know I keep like a planner. Like I have 2 separate planners, and I just try to plan out my days. That keeps me organized.
Being organized, disciplined, knowing your priorities, and doing what you have to do when you have to do it.
What are your goals for both the team as a whole and you guys individually for the season ahead?
My goal for our team is just trying to create like a winning culture, learning how to win, just getting better every day. That's for my goal.
Just got a new coaching staff, so everybody expects us to be shaky, but if we keep competing and practice and doing what we're supposed to do, I think we can do great this year. So proving everybody wrong would be my goal this year.
Well, I think you guys are going to prove everyone wrong. I wish you the best of luck on the season ahead.
Thank you.
I brought out the headband for this. I just want to make that known on camera. We're playing SB, which is essentially horse with 2 letters. Don't bet on me. I'm probably the last person you want to pick to win this one. Don't miss it for the first shot, but if it goes in, told you. Well, as expected, I lost. But thank you guys very much again for the interview today.
Thank you. No problem.
Now, let's head back to the studio. Thanks again to the Hofstra Pride women's basketball team. I'll try to work on my shot next time we play 21. But, guys, this is a team where everyone knew coming into this year it's a bunch of new recruits, a bunch of new players. Last year, they get that shock upset against JMU, but then again, they weren't even projected to get out of the first round of the play-in round against D-Line. So you look at this team now, it's a bit of a slow start. They did get that opening season win, brand new coach. Is there a silver lining we can find? What's went right compared to what's all gone wrong so far?
Well, my silver lining with this team is Ana Hernandez-Gil. She's been fantastic. She's in her final year, and she's averaging almost 10 points a game, which is much needed offense given how much this team has struggled. On the other end, though, you look at them, they're way too turnover happy. Sorella Neza, she's starting as a freshman, which is a very tall task, but she's already got 20 turnovers through 4 games. So I don't know how you're able to compete when you're having that type of offense.
I'm actually going to have to disagree with you there. Hernandez-Gil, for me, is one of the pride players that has to step up the most. She's kind of like in that Pemberton area where she was in the shadow of the star over the past couple of years. Boogie Brzezowski left. I want to see more from Hernandez-Gil. I want her to see more of her being a leader on and off the court and step up her play. But the silver lining for the team so far has been their trust and them playing together. Last year, we know that they weren't exactly like as a unit, and they cleaned house from top to bottom in the coaching staff. So this year, they're playing hard, they're playing happy. You can see how they celebrate after the first win. Them playing together as a unit will play big for them later on in the conference.
I'm going to agree with you, Justin. I think the silver lining is they're just very connected as a team. It's not like last year where there's a lot of like infighting between each other. But for me, it has to be the bench points, and I think all this issue really reared its ugly head against the Stony Brook game where they lost 81-38. Their bench produced nothing that game. It all came from your 5 starters. The minute the bench went and their production stopped, I mean, 5 third-quarter points, 3 of which were from free throws. The other 2 were just a basket.
That's when you need a leader. Boogie Brzezowski last year, whenever their team looked stagnant, she would step up and provide for them. Hernandez-Gil needs to step up and be that Boogie Brzezowski that she was last year. She needs to step up for them.
I think the leader's already there. I think you need to have the bench now. I think the leader's there in the locker room. I think it's Sorrell as a true freshman who's really going to step up and take this leadership role, and Ana Hernandez-Gil. And I think after that, you need your bench to step up. You can no longer – the men's basketball team have the same issue of we can't just turn to one person. The bench needs to come out now and turn up. And for women's, that's what they need. Boogie's gone. Boogie's gone.
I agree, but their leaders are Eli Pemberton and Deja Brewery. I don't feel comfortable with a freshman in Arel Sineza being the leader going forward for the women's basketball
Guys, you have to
team.
understand, though, Coach Santos Atkinson is the leader of this locker room. I get that she's the coach, that's her job, but you look at what she's been able to do with programs like Kentucky, like Florida State, like Pitt. If she could just get her players to buy in a little bit more, you might see this team start to turn their season around.
I think they've bought in, Quentin. I just think they need to start finding that bench depth. They've bought in. The buy-in's there. They need to just work on the bench
I don't know
depth.
if they bought in. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have cross-country athlete Leah Gath in studio for an interview. Don't go anywhere.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome back, Hofstra fans. I'm here with Hofstra University cross-country athlete Leah Gath. Leah, you're closing out your first year as a collegiate athlete. What have you learned transitioning from high school to college cross-country?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just the level of dedication that it takes. Like, in high school, you do sports, and you just do them for fun and because you want to be on a team and you want to hang out with your friends, and maybe you do 3 sports, 2 sports, whatever. But going into college, it is your sport. It is a dedication to a whole nother level. I never imagined that I would be getting out of bed at 4:30 in the morning to go run for an hour, 2 hours in the dark and in the cold somewhere, but here I am. And here are 12 other people doing it with me too. So it's a lot more dedication, not only from me, but also just being in a group of people that all have that same collective mindset. It's a really different environment, and I really enjoy it a lot.
That's awesome. Your work really did pay off, though. For example, at the Rothenburg 5K run, you finished 3rd among Hofstra athletes and 16th amongst all of the athletes. What can you say about that experience, and what did you gather from it?
Well, at the Rothenburg, I feel like that was really my transition. Like, kind of my breakthrough point, as my coach calls it, from like high school to college running. So before that, I was always just kind of, if I work hard, I will belong here. I will show that I deserve to be on this team, that I can be fast enough to compete at the collegiate level. And then at that race, it kind of became, okay, I can actually do this. Maybe I do belong out here, because even though there are still girls that are so much faster than me and that, like, realistically speaking, I will just never be as fast as them. It's just not going to happen. Even my own teammates, they're just, some of them are quite a bit faster than me, and that's just the way it is. But now, after that performance and after all the hard work I've been putting in, I'm really beginning to see that, okay, I'm an athlete at this D1 level. I belong here. I deserve to be here as much as everyone else. And I'm going to work hard to keep showing that, and I'm going to keep getting better.
Well, you definitely have proved that you belonged. For example, you got to compete in the CAA tournament as a freshman, which is huge, by the way. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So what did you practice to be able to get to where you got, competing against some of the best athletes in the conference?
I really had to practice getting that grit down. You really got to learn how to dig deep and push through even when it hurts. So some of the courses we're going on, they're just all hills. There's no flat, there is no easy. It is just hills all the way through. It's just every minute of it's gonna hurt. And you know on the starting line, like, oh man, these girls are fast. This course is gonna hurt. But you still just gotta go out there and race your hardest. So every day in practice, we're out there, we're trying our hardest, even if we're tired, even if we don't feel that great. We know we have to just try our hardest every practice so that when it comes to race day, we really can give it our all and then give it a little more just because it's that special day.
Mm-hmm. Kind of expanding on that, Leah, running on an incline is extremely difficult, as we all know, but what do you do to adjust that and keep your pace?
So when you go up an incline, I'm not the best at hills, admittedly. They really aren't my specialty, but I just really focus on driving my knees and just staring at the top of the hill. And you really just kind of got to pump your arms more. You're focusing on moving your entire body up the hill. You get your knees up, you're focusing on your arms, you're staring at the top, and then suddenly you're at the top of the hill and you just kind of explode over it, and then you can coast down and everything's fine and dandy and the birds are singing and the sun is shining, and then there's probably another hill, so it all goes away.
And then you're right back to it again. So, Leah, as many people know, you're from Western New York. You got to compete in the NCAA regionals in Western New York in front of your family, in front of your friends. How cool was that to be competing with the best of the best back where it all started?
It was pretty cool having all my friends and family around, seeing them, not so much before because we were, in the team mindset, kind of getting ready for the race, helping each other out, things like that. But just knowing that they were along the course, seeing a few people here and there like, oh, hey, that's my coach. Oh, hey, that's my kindergarten teacher. What are you doing here? Things like that. So that was really cool. And then after, I had this whole big posse of people just waiting for me to cross the finish line. So it was a very special experience, even though it was not so fun to run in the weather in Buffalo. It was so bad that they had to move us onto a road course. But it was still a special experience, and it's one that I'm never going to forget.
How cool is that? Unfortunately, though, Leah, that's all the time we have. But I'd like to thank you for coming in tonight. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but we'll be right back.
Oh, hey, Andrew. How was school today?
Tommy was teasing me about my haircut. The next thing I knew, Tommy had immobilized me with a headlock and gave me what is referred to colloquially as a swirling.
This isn't how kids communicate. Play is a child's first language. That's why play therapy can be a powerful tool for addressing a child's cognitive, behavioral, and emotional challenges. To learn more about play therapy and registered play therapists, visit a4pt.org.
Welcome back to Sports Beat, everyone. Quentin, thanks again for that wonderful interview with Leah. But guys, let's talk a little bit about the Hofstra cross country and track teams. Two teams that always had a little bit of popularity on campus, and then last year when the track program was announced, seemed to just explode. And everyone seemed to focus on these teams now. And all of a sudden, Alex Masai goes from a name that maybe you heard once around the block here and there to now really a household Hofstra name that you can put up with Justin Wright Foreman, a Boogie Brzezowski, Alyssa Farella. It's a Hofstra household name, if you want to call it that. What would you say has been more important for this cross-country team to get all the popularity it has? Masai's dominance in getting to the NCAA championships, or the track program really shining a light onto this cross-country team?
Well, I think that first and foremost, I want to congratulate everybody on the cross-country and track and field program because what they've done is unprecedented. They're competitors, they're fierce, and they know how to run. And Alex Masai demonstrated that, and that's why he's competing at the national level now, which is something very special. So you do have to hand it to the athletes when you consider it like that because they're able to bring the attention, they're able to bring the prestige to this Hofstra program.
I agree. The program almost starts and ends with Alex Masai. He's been big for this program, and even in games with the basketball team, and he comes out half court and he's getting congratulated by Hofstra. It's just an amazing feeling that you know that he has single-handedly restored one of Hofstra's more dormant teams.
I have to agree with you there. I like the way you put that. He has restored a dormant team. I think that's the best way to put it. But got to focus on Alex a little bit. He's going to the NCAA, not just regional championships, but championships. NCAA cross-country championships in Bloomington, Indiana, on the campus of University of Indiana. So go Hoosiers. Great movie. Does he have a chance to finish in the top 10 here against some of the best runners from across the country? Just quick yes or no.
Absolutely, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. He's been in 8 contests. He's won 7 of them. He's my favorite going into it.
I have to agree. I think he can get top 10. Well, before our final installment of FaceTimes, we have Lucio-Bermudez back in studio for the week ahead.
Here's what to look for from the Pride in the week ahead. The Hofstra men's basketball team has a busy week, first facing University of California at Los Angeles on November 21st at 11 p.m. Soon after, they will make their way to Fullerton, California against California State University on November 24th, and they'll end the week up against University of San Diego on November 27th. The women's soccer team will also be heading to Stanford, California on November 22nd to go head-to-head with University of Stanford. The NCAA Division I Championship on November 22nd, the women's volleyball team will be home in their match against the winner of the quarterfinal champion. Finally, the women's basketball team will be heading to Brooklyn, New York to go up against Long Island University. That's all for the week ahead. I'm Lucio-Bermudez.
Thanks, Crystal. Now to sadly kick off the last of the FaceTimes for this semester, Quentin Thorne.
Los Angeles Rams wideout Cooper Kupp has been one of the most prolific receivers in this NFL season, against all odds. Kupp came from humble beginnings, growing up in a large family in Yakima, Washington. With the help of his family and various coaches, Kupp developed a promising young career as a young receiver, picking up 110 receptions and 2,100 yards in his senior season at Davis High School. In spite of this ridiculous stat line, Kupp's best offer was from his local college, Eastern Washington University. He would continue to shine at the collegiate level, winning the Jerry Rice Award, which is given to the best player in FCS football in just his first season in the red and black. By the time he was done at Eastern Washington, Kupp had 428 receptions, 6,464 yards, and 73 touchdowns. His dreams would reach new heights as he was selected by the Los Angeles Rams with the 69th pick in the 3rd round of the NFL Draft. Kupp started his time in LA as the 4th-string wide receiver, garnering 869 yards and a promising 14 yards of reception. Things would really blossom his sophomore year, as he was a part of a Rams campaign that would make their way to the Super Bowl. Kupp moved up the depth chart as the season progressed and gained 566 yards and 6 touchdowns in just 8 games. Then disaster struck as Kupp tore his ACL against the Seahawks, and it looked like his young career was in jeopardy. But against all odds, Kupp is back and better than ever this season. He's the undisputed #1 option in Los Angeles with 792 yards and 5 touchdowns through 8 games. He has found himself an All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and Comeback Player of the Year territory. Kupp is a type fighter and a talent to witness. No matter how hard he gets knocked down, he's going to find a way to the top.
Load management in the NBA is an utter disgrace and embarrassment for one of America's most popular sports leagues. To think that it is possible for healthy athletes to be sitting out and still collecting their full salaries is beyond comprehensible. If you are healthy enough to be out there with your team, fighting during the season to ensure you are in good standing come playoff time, then by all means that is what you should be required to do. Many of the athletes think that what they are doing is preserving their bodies for the postseason when they presume the season really matters. But you are also robbing your team of wins when you are the star player of the team but choose to sit out looking far into the future instead of grinding out the season with your teammates. What type of message does it send to your guys who you're supposed to be going into battle with if you, as the leader of the team, constantly sit out games, feeling that you do not have to go through the grueling 82-game regular season because you only need to give it your all in the postseason? You have players on your team playing their hearts out from November to March just to sit out several key games during the regular season when completely healthy to preserve only your health. That is completely selfish. When you sit out, you're not only affecting your team, the franchise, and the city you represent, but also the fans all around the world who adore you. In some instances, if you play another team in a different conference, you only appear in that building once throughout the entire season. If you choose to, load manage during the game when your fans in that particular city do not get to see you for your entire season playing live from that arena, and they may have wasted money for a no-show from their idol. This load management is a crisis that needs to be dealt with immediately. How about paying the players for the amount of games that they play in the regular season? Excused when injured, of course. You choose to only play 65 games, then that is what you are paid for. Affecting the players' pocketbooks will surely make them feel what they are putting their team, league, and more than anything, their fans through when conducting a load management. Come on, guys. Put your egos aside and get your act together.
As the holiday season nears, the sports world begins to slow down and starts to reflect on their blessings. The NHL will stop games for a couple days to observe Christmas. College football used to have the Aloha Bowl on Christmas, but it moved to December 23rd or December 26th to avoid the holiday. And the NFL has moved games that would have been on Christmas to earlier days in the week, such as Saturday instead of Sunday for football. But one sport, basketball in particular, refuses to take a break for Christmas. NBA games on Christmas Day have been a staple of the league since 1947, when the New York Knicks defeated the Providence Steamrollers 89-75. Christmas Day games have even seen some crazy events, such as legendary Bulls and Lakers coach Phil Jackson winning his 1,000th game on Christmas, or in 2011, due to the lockout-shortened season, the NBA opened their season on Christmas with experts called a special kind of season opener. Teams even get new presents as they unveil new jerseys for fans to buy and players to show off. Even socks go from the worst gift to receive to the best gift as NBA teams get new socks too. But is it time for these games to end? Sure, these games showcase the best teams or historic rivalries, but players and coaches alike have said the games that take them away from families and mentioned that away teams have it the worst. Other major sports acknowledge one of the biggest holidays of the year. Is it time for the NBA to take Christmas off too? If you ask me, people should be waking up to presents and repeats of Die Hard, which, yes, is a Christmas movie, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, not the Lakers and Celtics NBA game. Well, it's a very interesting bunches of FaceTimes, but sadly that wraps up our last episode of Sports Beat for the fall 2019 semester. I've had a fantastic time hosting, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. I want to thank my terrific panelists, the wonderful Justin Joseph, the amazing Quentin Thorne, and the great Bermudez. A big thank you again to Leah Gath for joining us as well. And as always, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at HofstraSB, and tune in next semester for all new episodes. Until then, I'm Max Sacco. As always, have a great rest of your night, Hofstra University.